In a galaxy filled with millions of life forms, beauty and strength often decided everything, from jobs to homes. Even love and mates were chosen based on genetics. The weak, the strange, or the poor had no place. Inside a glowing auction chamber on the planet Volcaris, alien females were displayed like rare collectibles. Buyers walked past glass cells, inspecting each one as if shopping for shoes. But in the last cell sat a girl no one looked at twice. Her skin was soft purple, her hair thin and silvery, and her body too small for her species. Her name was Alari, and she was an orphan. The other alien females had sparkling jewelry, enhanced features, and expensive implants. Alari had none of that. She sat quietly on the cold floor, arms wrapped around her knees, eyes wide but empty, for many days. Buyers came, laughed, and walked away. "She looks broken," said one insectoid male buzzing past. "She probably can't even breed." A lizard-like noble chuckled. "She'd die before her first mating." A robotic bidder added with a smirk. No one wanted her, not one offer, not even a joke bid, until one day, a human man named Derek Rains entered the auction. He wasn't rich, not a soldier, and definitely not a typical buyer. He was just an engineer from Earth, visiting for spare ship parts. As he passed by the cells, he tried not to look too long, but then he heard something. It wasn't a sound, it was a feeling, like sorrow whispering through the air. He turned and saw Alari. She wasn't begging, she wasn't crying. She just stared, her eyes reflecting a pain so deep it hit him in the chest like a punch. "Who's she?" Derek asked the auctioneer. "Oh, that one?" The alien auctioneer sneered. "Defective orphan. Been here weeks, useless for breeding. Might as well be trash." Derek frowned. He didn't know why he cared, but he did. Something about her reminded him of someone, maybe himself. "What's the price?" he asked. "Just take her." The auctioneer waved a hand. "No one wants her. Give us any ID, and she's yours." And just like that, Derek became the owner of an alien girl. When he approached the cell, Alari flinched. Her small hands trembled. Her body pressed into the corner. "It's okay," Derek said softly. "I'm not here to hurt you." But she had heard that before. Alari had been passed from colony to colony, beaten, starved, used for cleaning or testing. Every time someone said, "It's okay," it wasn't. She expected pain, punishment, or worse, instead. Derek removed his jacket and gently placed it over her shoulders. "You must be freezing," he said. "Come on, let's get out of here." Alari's legs were weak, her breathing shallow, but she followed him because she had no choice. He didn't drag her. He walked beside her, slowly, as if matching her steps. Back at his rented quarters, Derek gave her food, warm noodles and sweet bread. She stared at the bowl for a long time before tasting it, expecting it to be drugged or poisoned, but it wasn't. "You don't have to eat if you don't want," he said, "but I promise. It's safe." She took a bite, then another, her eyes widened in disbelief. It was real food, soft, tasty, warm, something she hadn't had in years. Later that night, Derek offered her the bed and said he'd sleep on the floor. But when he woke up, he found her curled under the table, shivering, eyes wide in fear. "I'll be a good mate," she whispered in a broken voice. "I won't fight. You can do what you want. Just don't send me back." Derek's heart broke. A little. He sat down slowly and spoke gently. "Alari," he said, "I didn't bring you here for that." "Then why?" she asked in a whisper. "Why did you take me?" "I saw you," he replied, "and you looked like someone who needed help. That's all." Silence filled the room, heavy and thick. Alari looked at him for a long time, her eyes full of confusion. "No one has ever helped me without wanting something," she said. "Well, I'm not like the others," he replied. "You're safe now." That night, Derek didn't sleep much. He kept thinking, why had he done this? Why had he brought home an alien orphan no one wanted? And yet, deep down he knew there was something special about Alari. Not just her eyes, not just her silence, but something else. Something hidden, and soon. He would find out that the girl everyone rejected was the one thing the galaxy feared the most. The next morning, Derek woke up early. The soft hum of the space station outside his window reminding him where he was. He rubbed his eyes and looked over to the small blanket under the table. Ilari was still there, curled up tightly like a frightened animal. She hadn't moved all night. Her small fingers clutched the blanket like it was her last piece of safety. He crouched down quietly and offered her a cup of warm water. She stared at it, unsure if it was a trick. Slowly, with shaky hands, she took it, but didn't drink it. "You don't have to hide anymore," Derek said gently. "This place is safe." She didn't respond. Her eyes still searched his face for signs of anger or cruelty. But Derek didn't give her any. He just smiled a little and stood up outside. The station guards were waiting. Their tall, alien bodies stood stiff with authority. One handed Derek a small dataship. "Official transfer of ownership," the guard said coldly. "The Orphan now belongs to you, completely." "Belongs to me?" Derek repeated, frowning. "Yes, she is your property under interworld law. You are responsible for her food, health, and behavior. If she causes trouble, you will be punished, not her." Derek nodded slowly, his eyes narrowing. "She's not property," he said under his breath. But the guards didn't care. As they left, Ilari stood behind Derek, small and quiet. Her eyes stayed low, her steps soft and hesitant. That day, Derek tried everything to make her feel better. He showed her how to use the cleaner bot. He let her hold a soft toy from Earth, a little bear with a stitched heart. When she saw it, she paused, then hugged it tightly. Her lips quivered like she wanted to cry. "You can keep it," Derek said. "It's yours." She didn't speak, but her eyes glimmered just a little, like a tiny light was trying to turn back on. Later in the evening, Derek gave her fresh clothes, a simple shirt and soft pants. Ilari took them, but hesitated. "You don't have to mate with me," she said suddenly, her voice dry and cold. "Even if I wear these, I know why you brought me here." Derek turned around sharply, his face showing disbelief. "What?" he asked. "No, Ilari, I didn't bring you here for that." "Then why?" she whispered. "Why save something no one wanted?" Derek sat on the edge of the table, taking a deep breath. "I'm not sure," he said honestly. "Maybe because I felt unwanted too." That quiet sentence made Ilari freeze. "My planet was destroyed when I was 10, he continued. "Lost my family, my friends, everything. People looked at me like I didn't belong anywhere." He glanced at her. "When I saw you sitting alone behind that glass, I knew that feeling again." Ilari looked down at her hands, then whispered, "Most only want my body. They think that's all I'm worth." "Not me," Derek said firmly. "You're not just a body, you're a person. And you deserve to feel safe." For the first time, Ilari didn't pull away when he got closer. She didn't flinch, she just sat there blinking softly, holding the little bear tight. The next few days were slow but peaceful. Derek gave her space. He cooked simple food, played soft earth music, and kept the lights dim because her eyes were sensitive. He noticed she liked to draw on one of the walls. She started using color sticks to make shapes, stars, moons, and strange symbols he couldn't read. "Where did you learn that?" he asked one day. "I don't know," she said softly. "It's just inside my mind." Derek scanned the symbols and sent them to an old friend, an exolinguist who worked with ancient alien texts. The response was quick and shocking. "These aren't just drawings," the friend messaged back. "They're part of an ancient royal code from the Zayari bloodline, extinct for centuries." Derek looked back at Ilari, who was now humming a soft tune and coloring quietly. He realized something. She wasn't just a rejected orphan. She was carrying something powerful, something hidden, and if others found out, she would never be safe again. Derek never expected that such a quiet creature could change the energy of a room. Ilari still barely spoke, but the silence between them no longer felt heavy. It had turned into a calm space, a kind of quiet trust. One morning, she sat cross-legged, Near the window, watching the lights of passing ships, she pointed at one and said, "That one looks like a fish." Derek blinked, surprised. "A fish? You've seen one?" She nodded slowly, "Once." "In a water tank. It was blue and had big eyes." He smiled. "Well, I'll show you more fish sometime. Maybe we can visit Earth's oceans." Her eyes widened like he had offered her the stars. Then something magical happened. Her lips curved into a smile, just a small one, but real. That evening, Derek played a cartoon on his old tablet. It was an old Earth animation about a silly dog and a duck. He thought it might bore her, but as the characters ran into walls and made strange noises, he heard it, a sound he had never expected from her, laughter. Ilari giggled, her shoulders shaking, her eyes sparkling. It was a child's laugh, pure and shocked at its own freedom. Derek didn't say anything. He didn't want to break the moment. She looked at him nervously after laughing, as if waiting for punishment. "Was I too loud?" she asked. "No," Derek said gently. "You were perfect." From that day forward, she began laughing a little more each day. She discovered things she liked: sweet tea, soft socks, holographic butterflies. She learned that Derek never raised his voice, never touched her without permission, and always gave her space. She started asking questions too. Why do humans sleep lying flat? What's peanut butter? Why do Earth cats hate water? Derek answered them all with a grin, sometimes pulling up pictures or videos to explain. He treated her not like a broken object, but like a friend, maybe even something more. But in the middle of this soft happiness, something else began to grow, something strange. One night, Derek found her sitting on the floor, drawing again with her colored sticks. But this time, the patterns were more complex, more ancient-looking spirals. Symbols, strange stars connected by lines. "What's that?" he asked. Ilari tilted her head. "I don't know. They're just inside me. I don't remember learning them." Derek scanned the new drawings with his translator device, but even the advanced Earth tech couldn't decode most of them. Only one phrase came back, over and over again. "Royal blood, dormant flame." The words made Derek sit down slowly. "Ilari," he asked gently, "do you ever remember being somewhere else? Before the auctions?" Her eyes grew distant, like fog drifting into her mind. "I remember. Bright lights, screaming, a woman with glowing eyes." She was crying and singing at the same time. "A song?" Derek asked. She nodded. "It sounded like home." But then she pushed me into a cold tube. I remember freezing, and then nothing. Derek felt a chill in his bones. That wasn't a memory from a marketplace or a poor orphan colony. That was a stasis pod, a cryotube used to hide important bloodlines during war. Suddenly, all the puzzle pieces started coming together. The drawings, the star maps, the hidden language. Ilari wasn't just an orphan. She was a survivor, a hidden heir. Derek checked his message box again and found a reply from his exolinguist friend. "Derek, get rid of that girl now. Her symbols are linked to the Zyari Empire, extinct over 700 years ago. If word gets out, the bounty hunters will come." "I'm not joking." Derek stared at the screen for a long time. His hand shook as he turned it off. He looked back at Ilari, who had fallen asleep on the couch, hugging the little bear he had given her. Her breathing was soft, her face peaceful. "She's just a girl," he whispered. "Not a weapon, not a prize." But deep in his heart, he knew it wouldn't matter. To the rest of the galaxy, Ilari was no longer invisible. She was valuable and dangerous. And the moment someone else found out what she truly was, they would come for her, not to love her, not to protect her, but to own her. Derek made a silent promise that night, staring out at the endless stars. "If anyone wants to take her," he said under his breath, "they'll have to go through me first." Asterisk, the quiet days couldn't last forever. It began with a simple knock on the door. Derek wasn't expecting visitors, especially not on a station so far out in the neutral zones. Opened the door and found two tall insectoid creatures dressed in sleek red armor. Their antennae twitched as they looked past him into the room. "We are from the House of Krell," one said. its voice like clicking metal. "We've come to see the girl." Derek stiffened. "What girl?" he asked, trying to sound calm. "The Zayari child," the second insectoid replied. "She was purchased by you during the last auction. We wish to examine her for scientific purposes." "She's not for sale," Derek replied sharply. They tilted their heads. "We didn't ask to buy her, human." He slammed the door without another word. But as he turned around, Ilari was standing at the hallway entrance, her eyes wide and frightened. "Who were they?" She whispered. "Trouble," Derek said. "But they're gone now." He didn't tell her the full truth. He didn't want to scare her more than she already was. But things were only getting worse. The next day, a cloaked figure left a box outside Derek's door. Inside was a metal cube with a holographic message. "Return the Zayari blood, or be removed." Derek crushed the cube with his boot. Later that week, a smooth-talking alien noble from the Eularian Empire invited Derek to dinner, offering $1 million credits for a temporary genetic scan. Derek refused again and again, and every time he said no, another stranger came. They wore different faces, used different names, but all wanted the same thing. Ilari. Derek increased security. He upgraded the door locks, set up hidden cameras, even slept near the entrance, blaster in reach. Ilari noticed everything. Her laughter stopped again. Her drawings grew darker. The stars in her pictures turned red, and the figures looked like they were running from fire. One evening, while Derek was fixing a power relay, she sat beside him. "Why are they after me?" she asked. Derek paused, then put down his tools. "Because you're rare," he said carefully, "and people want rare things." "I don't want to be rare," she whispered. "I just want to be safe." "You are," Derek promised. "As long as I'm breathing, you are." But he knew he couldn't protect her alone. Not forever, so he reached out to someone he hadn't spoken to in years, Captain Rhea Morgan, a former soldier turned private security expert. They had worked together during the Mechari siege. She owed him a favor. She arrived 2 days later, tall, battle-scarred, with eyes like steel. "You've got a hell of a mess, Derek," she said. After reviewing the footage, "You're sitting on a living key to an empire long buried." "She's just a girl," Derek replied. "She didn't ask for any of this." Rhea looked at Ilari from a distance. "She doesn't even know who she is she?" "No," Derek said. "And I'm not going to let the galaxy turn her into something she's not." Rhea nodded slowly. "Then we get her off this rock now." They packed quickly, but Ilari hesitated. "Where are we going?" she asked. "Someplace quiet," Derek said. "Someplace no one can find you." "But they always find me," she said quietly. "Not this time," he replied. "We've got help." With Rhea's ship and her contacts, they took off during the night, leaving behind the station and its watchers. But just as they left orbit, a warning light flashed. Multiple ships were following. "They locked on fast," Rhea growled. "Hands on the controls. Too fast." Ilari stared at the screen, seeing ships she somehow recognized. "The silver one," she whispered. "That symbol." "It was on my mother's cloak." Derek and Rhea exchanged glances. "Do you think it's them?" Derek asked. "I don't know," Ilari said. "But my chest hurts when I see it." They didn't risk finding out. Rhea pushed the engines to max and jumped into hyperspace, the ship shaking as the stars blurred into light. Inside the ship, Ilari sat quietly with the bear in her arms, her head against the wall. Derek sat beside her and whispered, "You okay?" She nodded slowly. "I'm tired of running." "I know," he said. "But we'll find a place where you don't have to run anymore." And for the first time in days, she leaned her head on his shoulder, not from fear, but from trust. But even in that quiet moment, Derek knew one thing with certainty. The galaxy had seen her now, and it would not forget. They landed on a small green moon named Avira, far from trade routes and communication networks. The locals were peaceful farmers who had no interest in galactic politics. Ilari stepped out of the ship and touched the grass gently. It was the first time in her life she had walked on soil without guards or walls around her. "It smells alive," she whispered. Derek smiled. "That's because it is." They found shelter in an old stone house. Quiet and empty but strong. Rhea set up motion sensors around the area and left supplies for 2 months. "I'll be back when it's safe," she told Derek. "But for now, stay hidden. And keep her close." Alari watched Rhea's ship vanish into the sky, her small hand clutching Derek's sleeve. "Will she come back?" "She will," he nodded. "She's one of the good ones." Days passed slowly. Alari began helping in the garden, learning to plant alien herbs and feed the bird-like creatures that wandered nearby. But at night, she dreamed. The dreams were full of light, war, and sorrow. She saw flames falling from the sky, a mother with silver eyes holding her tight, and a deep voice whispering, "You are the flame's last breath." One night, she woke up screaming. Derek rushed in, kneeling beside her. "What is it?" he asked. "I saw her again," Alari sobbed. "She put me in the pod. She said I would wake when the galaxy forgot her name." Derek held her close. "You're safe now, I promise." The next morning, she walked out to the river alone. Her hands moved through the dirt as if searching for something. Suddenly, her fingers brushed against metal. She dug faster, pulling out a strange cube covered in moss and glowing faintly. "Derek," she called out. "I think I found something." He came running. They brought it inside and scanned it together. The cube responded to Alari's touch, lighting up with symbols only she could understand. "It's singing," she whispered, placing her hand over it. "I can feel it humming in my chest." Derek watched in awe as the cube projected a map of stars, then zoomed in on one dying sun. Near it was a hidden world, marked only with one name: Zaeris. "Prime, it still exists," Derek muttered. "Your people's origin world. But it was erased from all star charts." "Maybe it's calling me back," Ilari said quietly. "Maybe. That's where I'll find the truth." Derek wasn't sure. He didn't want to risk her safety again. But he also knew Ilari wasn't just a scared girl anymore. She was changing, growing stronger. She spent her nights reading the cube's data. Her eyes scanned strange symbols faster than Derek could follow. She started repeating words in a forgotten language. Her voice deepened with each phrase, like something old was waking inside her. One night, she said something that froze Derek. "I was never supposed to mate with anyone," she said. "Not like they said at the auction. Not for breeding. I was supposed to rule." He looked at her carefully. "You mean like a queen?" "No," she said softly. "Like a firekeeper, the one who holds the key to the Empire's soul." Derek didn't fully understand. But he knew one thing: Alari was no longer an orphan. She was something ancient and powerful. And maybe the galaxy feared her for a reason. But she didn't want power. She didn't want a throne. That evening, while they sat near the fire, Alari looked at him with soft eyes. "Derek," she whispered, "if I have to go someday, will you come with me?" He didn't hesitate. "Wherever you go, I go," he said. "You're not just someone I saved. You're family now." Alari leaned her head against his arm. "I've never had a family before," she whispered. "You have one now," he replied gently. But outside the house, just beyond the hills, something moved. A hidden drone hovered above the trees, recording their every word. A shadowy figure watched from another planet, eyes glowing behind a screen. "She's awakened," the figure whispered, "and the human is too close." Asterisk. The peace on Avra was shattered one morning when the sky turned dark. Derek was in the garden, trimming vines near the fence, when he heard a low rumble. At first, he thought it was thunder, but when he looked up, his heart froze. A large shadow passed overhead. 3 sleek alien ships, black as night, circled the sky like vultures. He dropped the shears and ran back to the house. "Alari!" he shouted. "Get inside now!" She rushed out from the back, holding the glowing cube in her hands. Her eyes were wide with fear. "They found us," she whispered. The house shook as one of the ships hovered just above. Dust fell from the ceiling, dishes rattled, the air outside crackled with energy. Derek sealed the doors and activated the security field Rhea had left behind. It wouldn't hold long, not against military-grade tech. He handed Ilari a small emergency bag. "If they break in," he said, "run to the east cave. Follow the river until the stone turns red. I'll find you there." She looked up at him, trembling. "I'm not leaving you. You must." He said, "You're not just a girl anymore. You're the only piece of your people left." A deep voice echoed through the air, broadcasted from the ships. "Return the Zayari Royal or be destroyed." Derek clenched his fists. "They're not here to negotiate." Ilari stepped forward and touched the cube. It glowed bright red and then extended into a larger projection, a symbol lit up above the house. A fiery crest with two wings crossed by a broken star. "The Flamekeeper still breathes," she said. Quietly, her voice wasn't her own. It was stronger, older, almost like someone else was speaking through her. Outside, the ships paused, confused by the signal. Derek saw an opportunity. "If they're scared of you, maybe we can use that." He ran to the control panel and activated the long-range beacon, hoping Rhea would pick it up wherever she was. "Calling all friendlies," he said into the mic. "This is Derek Rains. Requesting urgent evac, hostile. Forces on Avera, Royal Zayari target confirmed." A sudden blast rocked the side of the house. One of the ships fired a warning shot. "They're not waiting," Derek said. "We have to move." He grabbed Ilari's hand, and together they rushed out the back. The shield flickered as they crossed the boundary. The forest was thick, but they ran fast. Ilari kept the cube close. Its light guiding them. Behind them, alien boots hit the soil. Voices shouted in a harsh alien tongue. Suddenly, something whizzed past Derek's ear, an energy dart. It hit a tree and exploded. He pulled Ilari behind a rock. "They're trying to take you alive," he whispered, "but they don't care if I survive." "I won't go without you," Ilari said fiercely. Her hand touched the cube again, and suddenly a wave of energy pulsed outward. The trees bent back. The attackers stumbled. Even Derek felt the force move through his bones. "What was that?" He gasped. "I don't know," she whispered. "It just happened." They used the moment to escape further down the slope. The river appeared below, flowing fast and red from the morning light. "There," Derek pointed. "That's the cave." But just as they reached it, a tall figure stepped out from the shadows, clad in dark armor. A helmet covered its face, but its presence was terrifying. "You have awakened the blood," the figure said in a deep, cold voice. "You belong to the stars, not to this dirt." Derek raised his blaster. "She belongs to no one." The figure moved like lightning, knocking the weapon away. Derek hit the ground hard, groaning. "Stop!" Ilari shouted. "If you hurt him, I won't go with you." The figure paused, then removed its helmet, revealing a pale, tattooed face with glowing silver eyes. "You are the last Zayari," he said, "and he is your anchor to weakness." "I don't care," Ilari said boldly. "He gave me a name, a home, a choice." Just then, the air shook again. A new ship arrived, sleek, fast and armed. Rhea's voice crackled over a small communicator. "Get down." A blast of light hit the armored figure, sending him flying backward. Derek stood up, pulling Ilari behind him. Rhea's ship hovered above, a ramp lowering quickly. They ran, climbed aboard, and the ramp sealed behind them. "Good timing," Derek panted. "Couldn't let you die before saying thank you." Rhea replied, punching the engines. As they rose into the sky, Ilari looked down at the burning forest. "They'll never stop, will they?" "No," Derek said softly. "But neither will I." She reached for his hand. "Then let's face them together." And high above Avera, surrounded by stars, the last Zayari girl finally stopped running. The stars outside Rhea's ship looked calm, but inside, the air was heavy. Ilari stood near the window, her hand resting on the glowing cube that had once been buried in the dirt. Derek stood beside her, silent, waiting for her to speak. "They'll chase us forever," she whispered. "Even if we hide again, another shadow will come." "Then let's stop hiding," Derek said calmly. "Let's show them what you really are, not something to own, but someone to respect." Rhea nodded from the cockpit. "There's one place that can make that happen, one last stronghold of Zyari history, but it's buried beneath a dead star." Ilari looked up, her eyes steady. "Then take me there." The journey was long. The ship traveled through empty sectors, past war-wrecked planets and forgotten ruins. Finally, they reached the system. A giant dead sun loomed at the center, and orbiting it was a cracked planet, dark, lifeless, and silent. "Welcome to Zaeris Prime," Rhea said. They landed near a temple ruin half buried in dust. Ilari stepped out first, her bare feet touching the broken stones as if they remembered her. She walked ahead slowly, the cube glowing brighter with every step. Suddenly, the temple doors opened with a deep groan. Despite centuries of silence, inside was a great hall, lined with giant statues. All of them had faces similar to hers eyes, like stars, markings along their cheeks. "This is it," she whispered. "My people were here." At the center stood a throne made of crystal and fireglass, and beneath it, a hidden chamber. The cube guided them to it, opening the way like a key inside. They found a vault of knowledge maps, memories, and messages left behind for the day the royal flame returned. One recording flickered to life, a hologram of a woman with silver eyes and soft voice. "My daughter," the image said, "if you have found this, then you are the last. The empire is gone, but the legacy remains. You must choose what comes next, vengeance or peace." Ilari's eyes filled with tears. "That was her," she whispered. "My mother." Derek placed a hand on her shoulder. "She wanted you to decide your own future." And Ilari did. She activated the beacon left behind by her ancestors, not to raise an army, but to send a message across the stars. The signal echoed, translated into every known language. "The Zyari flame has returned, not to conquer, but to shine." The message reached noble houses, bounty lords, governments, and even slave markets. It told the galaxy she was alive, not as a weapon, but as a voice within hours. Thousands responded. Some threatened, others begged to meet her, but many, surprisingly, offered protection. A new alliance began to form, led by no army, no throne, just a girl who had once been nothing. They called her the Starborn Orphan, the Flamekeeper, and even the Light Child. But Derek, he just called her Ilari. He stayed by her side through every meeting, every speech, every offer. And one night, as they stood on the temple's highest balcony, Ilari looked at him with soft, glowing eyes. "You know," she said, "they all wanted to mate with me for power, for blood, for gain." Derek chuckled. "Yeah, I remember. But you," she said, stepping closer, "you wanted nothing and gave me everything." He looked at her and said gently, "I didn't choose you because you were special, Ilari. You became special to me after I chose you." Her voice cracked slightly. "Then choose me again." "I already did," he said, taking her hand. The galaxy may have feared her, but Derek had loved her first, before the symbols, before the power. When she was just a scared, lonely girl in a cage, he didn't set her free to use her. He set her free so she could find herself, and she did under the stars. The orphan no one wanted became the voice the galaxy couldn't ignore. But in her heart, she would always remember the first time someone reached out, not for gain, not for glory, but for kindness, and that was the day everything changed.